This video is sponsored by Scentbird. We just got back from Betty Ford and we're drinking already.
I'm not giving it up. I'm not a quitter.
We have the amazing, the fabulous star of Dragula season 4.
More. Amazing.
The stunning,
fabulous,
the lustrous
beautiful.
Miss Sara Andrews, aka Bitter Betty.
Hi.
If you don't go follow Sara Andrews on Instagram, you're f***ing trash. What's your Instagram?
Bitter Betty SUX.
Bitter Betty sucks. The children deserved a little Rupaul's Drag Race Dragula collaboration.
Exactly.
We were just the canceled bitches to give it to you.
It's the collaboration you didn't ask for, don't need, and don't want, but you're getting it anyway.
You're gonna eat it up.
Oh no, we're just gonna make me look like a whore.
Yeah, and without further ado,
I'll Gollum it. Looking like Gollum.
Gollum it. Actually, we're gonna start with brows though.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I would have just shaved them off.
Ooh.
Do you want me to?
It's not too late.
No, I'll shave them off.
You will?
I have a razor.
This is a fucking girlfriend right here. Like, you're all dead to me. Sarah's my only friend.
And if this isn't Gollum enough, wait till you see me without eyebrows, bitch.
Oh my God, I love you.
Precious. And now they have those those Amazon tattoo brows. They're great.
Yes, the Amazon tattoo brows.
They're so realistic looking.
Those look like little hairs growing out of
That's
your
what
face.
everyone wore my season for Dragula and the confessionals, except Astrid. She
Oh,
was
really?
still drawing hers on, yeah.
The moment that I knew that I was just completely batshit obsessed with you was when I went on Twitter one day. She was in the shower, just like, oh, what are you scared of some titties?
Man, 14 years of Drag Race, discriminating against trans women, specifically transsexual women.
Yeah.
And I just had enough of it. That was my audition tape that year.
The audition tape, I love it.
I really wanted them to see that, we're also kind of no different than any guy that does drag, any gay guy that does drag. We've been there too. I've been a gay boy more of my life than I've been a trans woman. So
when did you realize that
I started transitioning, I think it was 23-ish, 22 or 23 is when I started growing my hair out and started hormones and getting laser hair removal. And then a few, maybe 6 months to a year after that, I started living full time as a woman.
And you were 23?
Yeah, around 23, I think.
Okay.
And I'm 41 now, so you do the math.
When you think of the character Bitter Betty, what is she?
So I came up with the name Bitter Betty because, as I mentioned earlier, I'm very loud and especially about, that whole discrimination with trans women in drag and stuff. I was very loud about it for many years, and along the way, I had a whole lot of, fans of the show basically put me down and try to discredit me by saying, oh, well, you just sound bitter. If you want to pin something on me, bitch, I'll own it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I love that.
I was like, I'll show you bitter. I'll show you
Let me
bitter.
get on Twitter.
And that's when I wanted her to be sort of the darker side of me. And so that's why I, did the Dragula thing.
And how would you say she compares to Sara Andrews, the goddess?
I worked at Play Dance Bar in Nashville for 10 years. And back in the day, we had calls. So we had our drag names, but then we had little taglines in front of them. And I was the sweet sensation, Sara Andrews. Sara Andrews is Gem from Gem and the Holograms. I tried to make Bitter Betty more pizzazz.
And you were in Nashville, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were born there?
I was born in a little bitty town outside of Nashville.
Scentbird is a revolutionary way for perfume lovers to grow their collection without breaking the bank. Subscriptions are fully customizable, so you can receive as many fragrances every month as you'd like. Just pop the fragrance into this sleek, refillable case with a twist-up mechanism, which Scentbird will supply for you, and you will be smelling rich AF in no time. Scentbird carries all kinds of luxury designer fragrances like Tom Ford and Versace, but today I'm using Bella Blanca by Oscar de la Renta. Let's give it a try. God. I've never wanted to drink perfume like a freaking shot before, but this is quite tempting. Bella Blanca has top notes of lychee, orange blossom, pear, jasmine, and musk. and honestly, it transports me to the inside of a genie bottle or something. I just love how fragrance does that. A little secret of mine is to spray the fragrance directly on my face. That way, when you're out and about meeting and greeting people, when they come in for that air kiss, they get all that fragrance up in their grill. In addition to Oscar, Scentbird also sent me Jason Wu and Rebecca Minkoff this month. And honestly, this is probably illegal, but I do like to mix 2 or 3 fragrances at once and just come out smelling like the last whorehouse. This really is an amazing way to get a chance to try everything that's out there without having to spend, oh, I don't know, $300 on one bottle from the department store. So don't sleep on this. Scentbird is now available in Canada, so use my code PEARL55 for 55% off your first month, which brings your subscription down to only $7. Thanks for watching, and now let's get into this Bitter Betty makeup transformation. What was it like growing up?
I was like the only gay boy that was really out in my high school.
But you were out.
Yeah.
And did you receive flack from that, or did people appreciate it?
Oh my god, I actually got expelled in 11th grade.
Okay, for being gay.
For being gay, for refusing to take off makeup and flamboyant clothing. They were like, you can change and come back dressed normal and, you know, continue your school or you're expelled. And I was like, bye bitches. I enrolled in college that same like semester just to prove that I could, and then, you know, I didn't say I was like, okay,
I just wanted to prove I could.
I just wanted to prove that I could.
Did you do any kind of school after that, or?
No. No. Well, hair school. I've done hair since.
Same.
I'm a 3-time beauty school dropout.
Yeah,
3
Damn.
times.
That's even more than Trixie Mattel.
I know.
So you do wigs because you never got your actual license. Got it.
Exactly. No, I would much rather do wigs than work on real people.
Oh, trust me. I was a hairdresser before I was a drag queen, and I did hair for about 7 years. And it is the most funkiest, most foul job. I would like take my comb and I would just comb through someone's hair and their scalp would just come off into my comb. And I'm like, who are you?
I like being able to, you know, when I roll some hair, stab a pin into the head. And you can't really do that with a person.
So how did you like learn to create these amazing like giant sculpture wigs?
I just taught myself. I mean, my drag mother, her name was Sara Andrews, look her up. She kind of taught me how to make my hair bigger for drag and everything. She taught me kind of the basics of that. Like, I would always wear my hair too far and then I would try to put the volume too far in the back, and she'd be like, no, it needs to be up here. And then she taught me to, like, you know, if the rest of the hair is just kind of, you know, messy or whatever, she said just make sure there's detail around the face and that sort of thing. She taught me the ins and outs.
Sarah has an amazing little wig business called 1-800-WIG Takeout.
Wig Takeout.
She's got the takeout box, the brand, the marketing is so on point. I highly recommend. So did you move to Nashville at some point, or?
Oh yeah, like I got out of Cookeville when I was like, as soon as I turned 18. Cookeville was where I was from.
If anyone is watching from Cookeville, Tennessee.
Yeah, I got the hell up out of there. Oh girl, that was a chore too. You know, I grew up in foster care, so when I turned 18, I was just kind of on my own. $300 in my savings account, or not my savings account, my checking account. Literally $300, and that wasn't even a lot, even in like 1998, 99. I drove to Nashville, which was like an hour and a half away through the hills of Tennessee, through the backwoods of Tennessee.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and I got
like Appalachian shit.
Yeah, and I got me a job at like this hotel as a phone operator, like Opryland Hotel. It's like this huge hotel in Nashville. And on my way back from getting that job, from the job interview where they hired me, my car breaks down and like it ends up like busting a block or something that costs like more than the car is worth. And I packed all my belongings in a friend of mine's trunk, and he drove me to a cheap motel across the street from the hotel where I worked. And I stayed in a cheap motel and walked to work just to get out of Cookeville. I was making it, god damn it. And I couch surfed a lot too in those younger years of mine.
Young queer people, when we want to get the out of our hometowns, we find a way.
We're determined.
Oh,
yeah.
we might do some shit that, you know, you don't never would have imagined doing. What has life been like for you since TV?
Oh. I mean, it's not been crazy. You know, I got canceled right at
Let's talk about that.
Oh, God. Hold on, I need a drink.
We don't have shots, we have big gulps.
No, I got canceled right as they were announcing me, so unfortunately I think that really f***ed with a lot of the opportunities that I could have had. So not a lot has changed. I have been traveling a little bit, not a ton, but also from what I've heard, a lot of the Dragula girls don't get to travel as much as they expected.
Well, there's also a pandemic.
Yeah, I think the whole cancellation thing is just all online, really, and people in the real world don't give a f***. And actually, a lot of people who I know, like, unfollow me and stuff, like, you'll see them in the real world and they'll act like, you know, they didn't take part in it. But
why were you canceled?
I got into an argument on Twitter with someone about like having pronouns being asked. Because my husband, who is also a trans man, he's also a trans man, you know, like me, I'm a trans man. Yeah, so people don't question his gender, and he got asked, you know, his pronouns. And for those of you that don't know, when people ask a trans man or woman their pronouns in the real world, they do it in a cocky way.
Absolutely.
It's only happened a couple times to me, and that one time to Taylor, and every time has been like smiling, proud of it. Like they're you can see in their eyes that they're patting themselves on their back, on the back.
Infuriating.
Yeah, it's infuriating because they're clocking you, but they're doing it in a way that they think it's socially acceptable because they saw online that you should ask trans people their pronouns. And so I got into an argument with someone online about that. Someone who was literally, you know, just a guy, a bear, born a guy and everything, lives as a guy, was trying to tell me how I should feel about it. And so I laid into him and got jumped on by Twitter, basically. Everyone. I just watched it happen to, there's a DJ in Chicago who's a trans woman, Ariel, I forget her last name. But she just like tried to say something about it. She was like, please stop doing this. She did exactly what I did. I was like, please stop doing this. When it happened to my husband and that person did it, it ruined not only his whole day, but his whole week. He was just moping around depressed and upset over it. And I know how it feels because I've had it happen a couple times to me too. And it's just so infuriating. I watched them dogpile Ariel too for daring to say trans women do not want our pronouns asked, like trans men and women do not want this. I think the problem lies in nowadays you have a lot of people who are, you know, non-binary and claiming that that's the same thing as trans. Their argument is that you don't know if someone's non-binary, which you can't tell because you're not transitioning at all. So you don't, so you should ask everyone their pronouns. And it's just like, that's kind of the complete opposite of what trans people want. But they claim, well, we're trans too, and there's a lot more of them than there are of us. So they will dogpile us if we dare to speak our truth.
I can imagine going through the psychological torture of transitioning and having to navigate the world that way, and then seeing this new generation of trans, you know, what people have the right to identify however they want, but to see that demographic try to claim something that you fought so hard to own in your own life, psychologically, mentally. Well, and then they try to just like tell you
it's frustrating. And a lot of them claim that it's an age thing, like you know, oh well, it's only older trans women. That's not the case. That Ariel girl is a very young little trans woman. A lot of them are afraid to say anything because they don't want to get canceled. Trans women already have a hard time with their livelihoods, with, you know, especially in the queer community. The last thing they want is to lose their community and lose their livelihoods within that community. So they're not going to speak up against the majority of the community. But there are a lot speaking out. I see more and more speaking out. And I see dog piles happening when they do, but hopefully more people will start to listen to the trans women that are speaking out.
I mean, if we're
and the trans men that are speaking out. There are trans men speaking out about it too.
Yeah. I mean, if everyone is supposed to respect the non-binary opinion, how come no one respects the trans woman's opinion?
Right.
It seems like a little bit of a double standard.
But anyway, that's why I got canceled.
Yeah.
And
would you call it a real cancellation though?
oh yeah, I mean.
Oh wow. Really?
Yeah, the community really turned on me. I've never experienced anything like it. I don't feel like drag is an option for me anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I had no idea.
Yeah.
It's like that severe.
Yeah, I haven't really said that out loud, but yeah. You don't see me in drag as much anymore, I think as a result of that. So I just feel, I don't know the word.
Disappointed.
Yeah, disappointed. I need a drink.
Yeah. Do you feel like, oh, I'm 41 and like I had to come to a time where, you know, I lost interest in drag anyway? Or are you like, no, drag is something that
Not really.
I
Drag
love.
has always been my passion and everything.
Oh my god. I hate you bitches. What is wrong with you?
It's always been my passion. It's all I ever wanted to do since I was like 12 or 13. It was actually Tu Wong Fu. I sat in the theater watching it. My small town had a 2-theater, and I think a gay guy owned that theater because he played Tu Wong Fu as one of the movies.
Mm.
And I sat there and watched it and said, that's what I want to be when I grow up. You know, it's said that Wesley Snipes hated that. Supposedly his manager or whoever coerced him into doing it. It was like, it'll be a great acting thing for you.
Uh-huh.
And Patrick Swayze supposedly loved it. And on their final day of filming, Patrick Swayze sat down in front of a mirror and looked at himself and said, well, this is the last time I get to be pretty. He really liked the drag thing, apparently.
My mom dated this guy when I was little, who was a drag queen.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the straights, you know, they fucking eat it up. And now they're on Drag Race, and you're not.
Right?
Okay. Whatever you say.
Excuse me while I scream.
How do you feel about RuPaul's Drag Race finally putting trans contestants on the show? Openly,
I
outwardly?
think it's wonderful. Thank good, you know, Sonique is the first actual like transsexual that they put on there. RuPaul drew the line in the sand. He said, they asked him, would you put someone who had breast implants on?
Yeah.
That was the exact like
Yeah,
thing,
the
and
exact.
he was like, probably not.
For me, I was just always waiting for
Yeah.
the trans woman that was doing the pageants that all of you got all of this from.
The Continental Girls, like
Right.
any of them,
Like
there's a
that.
plethora of them that they could choose from, and they could have chosen from for 15 years, and it's still not a single one. Sonique is actually the first, and that was an all-star season. I want to see one plucked out of obscurity
Yes.
and into stardom.
Yes.
Give one of those dolls a chance. But no, we're not supposed to talk about the differences in trans people before and after transition. Like,
Yeah.
that's cancelable.
Yeah.
But there is a difference. There's a difference in the way the world treats us, and Drag Race is just a perfect example of that. If someone in our own community won't hire us after we transition, how bad do you think it is in the rest of the world?
Right. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Like, if it's this bad in the gay community, imagine how bad it is for the dolls outside this community.
That is so
like,
fucking
isn't it a lot
bad.
to think about?
Yeah.
He's gotten so much flack for the song Tranny Chaser and for that female and she-male game that he played and everything. And the thing is, like, if we had been in the room, if we had been in on the joke, it would have been cool. Like, but the fact that you weren't allowing us into the room while you were making these jokes
Right.
is the problem.
Yeah.
We can take a joke, bitch. We came up with the f***ing word tranny, but the fact that you wouldn't let us in the room is just disturbing.
When I'm trying to
So
understand.
yes, I'm bitter.
I really try to put my head in their head and try to understand it, and I just don't understand that.
It's just a little sad to me though that what is that saying about the conqueror? History is written by the conquerors, and in history it's going to go down that Rupaul brought drag to the mainstream and brought trans women into it, and he's going to be glorified for like bringing trans women.
But we'll never forget the damn tweet.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Google the Guardian magazine, Rupaul Guardian interview. I'm happy to see it. Yes, I'm bitter that it took 15 years because yes, that sort of erased an entire generation of trans women in this industry who were stars.
Well, you were also hung up to dry for advocating something they eventually did.
Yeah.
So that has got to be like so frustrating.
Yeah. And I 100%, do believe that if I had not been so loud, because I do think I was the loudest person in the community.
Oh, I would agree
and
with that.
I do believe that if I wasn't so loud and obnoxious about it,
who knows?
Believe me, I know I was obnoxious about it. I don't think that they would be coming around now.
So do you remember like your first drag show?
I was 17 actually when it happened. I snuck into the club and had full metal mouth braces. All the acne. I think I weighed like 100 pounds soaking wet.
Oh my god, I love you.
Adam's apple bigger than my nose because, I was that skinny. Wearing nothing but CoverGirl from the Walmart in Cookeville because that was the only option we had. I'll never forget, my favorite eyeshadow color was pink chiffon.
You didn't even have a Mac over there?
No, God no, girl. Oh, and we couldn't afford Mac
rough.
anyway back then. I will never forget when I was able to afford my first piece of Mac, and it was, my first piece of Mac, and it was you felt like you were coming up.
Oh, and I know it was that teal color.
Yeah, probably.
Like super
it
teal.
was that electric blue, what is it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that electric blue.
So do you remember your number? Like what song you performed?
I did How Will I Know by Whitney Houston. And I started off as a little nerdy girl. And it was the 90s.
Oh, so you had a gag.
Yeah, well, it was the 90s. So I had on some glasses and my hair up, and I would pull my hair down and pull the glasses off, and suddenly I was a hot girl. Amateur night was so dead, girl. Like, we literally were just watching each other perform. That bar was empty.
Yeah.
There may have been a random, cross-dresser that had creeped in and was oogling all the old drag queens, but that's literally it. People were not going out on a Wednesday to see a bunch of boogers.
Doesn't it shock you just the way things are now compared to
Yeah. Oh my god.
Like
It's wild to me, a lot of the girls would spend years before they'd ever get a good booking. Literally years. And now I feel like it happens so fast. A lot of people nowadays are more polished in a week than I am after 20 years because of all these tutorials and shit.
And also products have changed.
Oh yeah, significantly.
There's some things that if I didn't have these brand new products, I would not look good in drag.
Yeah, now drag is so different because it's all, you have to look good in high def, up close. You have to really
you are so
look good. And back then, our goal was to look good from 50 feet away with white lights shining on us, a spotlight. You could be real sloppy with your makeup up close and look real good on stage.
What is it like working and to film a show with a bunch of crazy people, and then at the end of the day you have to go all to the same house and live together? I
mean, I was a little bit of a troublemaker because alcohol.
I mean, after eating glass and worms at Dragula, a girl needs a little drink.
You gotta have something to wash it down. Wash down the glass and the worms.
They made you drink pig's blood on the show, right?
They did make us drink pig's blood. It wasn't half as bad as the garlic, though. The garlic was the worst.
So you're saying If you had to do it again, you'd prefer to eat garlic?
No, I'd prefer to drink the pig's
blood.
blood than eat the garlic, yeah. We were all pretty shocked at the fact that the pig's blood was the easy part and the garlic was the hard part. Because I was like, I love garlic, bitch, yes, I'll eat some garlic. But Zava, when she finished, I mean, she had snot pouring out of her nose and her eyes and her ears. And it was that hot. It was that painful to try to swallow.
There were some challenges on Dragula that I just could not wrap my head around.
Like what?
Like, what was the season where they were putting needles in Erica Clash's arm?
Yeah.
That for me, I was like, I'll sue everyone just for even implying that I'm supposed to do that. But that's why I was on Drag Race and not Dragula.
Yeah. I so would do it. There's not really a challenge, an extermination challenge that I wouldn't do.
If they're like, eat raw frogs.
I mean, it would be hard, but I'd sure try. The only thing that would really fuck with me, I think, is if you tried to put me in, like, my head in a box of snakes or something. Like, I used to watch Fear Factor. Like, I used to get into that shit. When I was getting ready for it, I was thinking about Fear Factor and all of the challenges that used to be on Fear Factor and like, what are they gonna have us do? And I was like, if they do anything with snakes, I'm done.
So she doesn't do snakes.
No.
I'm kind of like pukey and gaggy, so there's just no way. I'd be just like a whiny little bitch the whole time. You want me to what?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of the challenges this season too just weren't nearly as like hardcore as the past ones. And I think they said on one of the podcasts, their podcast episodes, that they kind of went easy on us this season because it was the pandemic and they just were not trying to traumatize us any more than we've already been put through. Let me jump out of a plane. Bitch, people pay good money for that. That's a good time.
I've done that. I'm traumatized after skydiving.
Really?
So, yeah, if they made me do that again, like that would seriously, I'd be in a hospital.
Was it not good?
It was great. It's just something I would never do again.
Really?
Never. I would never do that again.
Really?
Never. When I think about it, I'm like, why the f would I do that?
What was I thinking?
What was I thinking?
Yeah, I could see how you might have that afterward.
I was just always balls to the wall when I was younger, and as I get older, oh my god, it's like...
Your mortality starts to hit you a little more as you get older.
Yeah. It's not that adventurous anymore.
I mean, yeah, there are things that I did in my younger years that I wouldn't do now. When, back in the 90s before we had cell phones, and I was still living in Cookville, but I was driving to Nashville to do that amateur night that I was telling you about. Well, I would get ready, of course, at home, and then I would, get painted, get my wig on, and put on a little whore outfit, because that's what we wore, a little walk around.
A tiptoe.
And I'll never forget what I was wearing. I was wearing a little Catholic schoolgirl dress, because those were real big in the 90s, and a little, short sleeve, cardigan that was closed up, crop top. And it was just like that with a crop top, and those, loose-side stripper pleaser heels.
Yes.
So I was looking like the last stripper. And I take off to Nashville, driving through the backwoods of Tennessee on the interstate, and suddenly my car starts smoking. It starts I smell just like engine coolant. So I pull over as fast as I can, and I'm like, halfway to Nashville, out in the middle of nowhere. The nearest exit is miles down the road, and I'm like, what the f am I gonna do? So I watched a lot of TV.
You didn't have a backup outfit?
No, I liked being in a drag, girl. What can I say? I watched a lot of movies when I was younger, and what does the hot girl do in movies when her car breaks down on the middle of nowhere? She pops her hood and bends over into the hood with her ass sticking out toward the road. So I absolutely did that and had a ride in 5 minutes flat. A big 18-wheeler pulled up behind me. Mind you, I was 100 pounds soaking wet. I was tiny. Still sounded like Kermit the Frog on crack. So this trucker stops and he's like, "You need a ride?" And I was like, "Yes, please." So I hop in his truck, and the whole time I'm just sitting here like this, trying to, and mind you, back then, I thought I was painted out of my mind, but I was wearing nobody's makeup.
Yeah.
I was sitting here like this the whole time. Truckers are a lonely people, so of course he wanted to chit chat. And I was like, where are you headed? You headed to Nashville? And I'm like, You got a show there? You a dancer?
Yeah, something like that.
He said, I sure would like to see you dance. I'm like, no, I need to get to a payphone to call my mom. And he drops me off at the payphone at the next exit, which was like on this exit with this tiny gas station that was closed and completely dark. And there was a payphone, so I used the payphone to call my mom to come get me. And he drives away. He's like, you sure you don't want me to take you to the show? And I'm like, Nichols, thank you. He tried it one more time. So he drives away, and I'm sitting up on this hill off this interstate exit, dark gas station, and I'm the phone was low. For some reason, the phone was low, and I popped a squat up on that thing, waited for my mom to come get me. Don't you know, not 5 minutes, and I see like one semi comes and pulls up and parks around the parking lot. Another one comes up and parks around the parking lot. Another one comes up and I'm like, that son of a bitch must have gotten on his CB radio talking about, there's a stripper up on this exit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, at this point, I'm a little
worse.
At this point, I'm terrified.
You're like a survivor.
Yeah, bitch. At this point, I'm terrified. So I like hop off my squat that I'm on, and I'm still in these like fucking stripper heels on a gravel fucking parking lot, and I start hoofing it down the interstate
it's like
ramp.
that scene in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, where they're all chasing.
Yes, it's very that. Just like running down the interstate ramp, and just as I get to the base of the interstate ramp, my mom's friend came to pulls up, and like, bitch, I hopped in that car, and in my head, I just picture the last scene of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where she's like, ah! Yeah, I made it out alive to do drag another day. This one over here is my good one, and this over here. This is my good eye.
This is my pretty guy.
This is my pretty eye, but this is my good side, so. I feel like you're going for supermodel, but it's gonna come out cigarette mom.
That's like how a lot of drag queen makeup just is. Like we're all a little bit of a cigarette mom.
Yeah.
So we start ripping.
No. If you want me to, I'll really get up in there.
Can you do it without?
Yeah.
Oh, you can.
Do you have a mirror?
You can look.
I can't look. Oh shit! No, I can't do it then.
We're just gonna put some massive ones on anyway. So.
I have very straight lashes, so you really gotta curl those. Yeah, the way the silicone people used to do the lips, for some reason they would often do
The silicone ladies.
We used to call them the doll makers because they made the dolls. For some reason they would never do the bottom lip. The bottom lip just was unheard of to get done. They would always just do the top. But the way that they would do it, they wouldn't do it in little droplets across the whole thing. They would stick that needle in the side and go all the way up to the middle, and then as they were pulling out, they would leave a trace of it. Yeah. Wow. Stay away from black market silicone, girls.
Oh, can we talk about black market silicone? Okay.
Oh my god.
So what was your experience like?
I'll tell you everything I've had done. The first thing I had was my lips done. And
that was first.
Yeah, for some crazy reason, I was like, oh well, that's not perfect, but it's
Put it everywhere else.
Let's do it everywhere else.
Yeah.
Ended up getting my cheeks, my chin, my forehead. It's in my forehead, my cheeks, my chin, my lips, all of my boobs. I had pretty good hormone titties to begin with.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Because I couldn't find a silicone person for years, so I was on hormones for years, and then I've had my hips and ass done.
So what does that feel like?
Well, so a lot of the girls back in the day used to always tell me that I was lucky because my girl used anesthesia, and I use that term loosely.
Because it was a bottle of Jack Daniels?
I don't know this for sure, but I suspect that it was possibly mixed in water that she would shoot in and it would numb you. I kid you not. It wasn't painful for me, except in the lips. The lips were fucking painful.
It was like a fire.
Yeah.
On fire.
The body didn't hurt, but the girl, my drag mother actually said the person that did me did not use any sort of anesthetic, and it is extremely painful. It can migrate at any time because it's not contained in a sac of any kind.
Oh my God.
So it's just floating around in there. So at any time, it could migrate into my heart, my lungs, any major organ and kill me.
Wow.
So I have to live with that every day.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to, every day I pray that it doesn't, you know,
So
migrate
do
and
you
kill me.
regret doing it?
Yes, I would not get it done now. That's another thing we were talking about earlier, how at this age I would not do it. I would not do it now. And I knew that it was dangerous back then too. I wasn't fooled into thinking that it wasn't. I had read a lot about it. But
you just want to not
it's
have be
desperation.
dysphoric.
It's desperation. You don't. I'm from the trailer park. I never in a million years felt that I would ever be able to afford any sort of facial feminization surgery or anything like that. So I did what I could. Yeah.
Can you explain the forehead a little more?
Yeah, so what she would do is, you know, a lot of male skulls have that defined brow bone,
Yes.
you know, or a flatter forehead. It's a rounded
Wow.
forehead is more feminine.
Oh, right.
So like, yeah, she just put a little kind of in the center to just give it a more rounded look.
It's very
that away from that, yeah. And the chin, of course, is just to like kind of give it a little more of a point, to make it a little less square.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, a lot of people, you know, want to villainize the silicone people, and a lot of them are really awful because they put God knows what in there and everything. And I do think that a lot of them are trans women themselves who are hard up, and a lot of them will actually sit there and pump themselves.
Oh.
And she was one of them. She would pump herself. So I don't think that they are being malicious.
Well,
you
she
know?
genuinely thinks she's helping you. As a
Right,
trans
that's the
sister.
thing. They do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they do. I'm not saying always. Sometimes
Right.
they're just. I'm sure some of them are just crazy and evil, pumping God knows what in there. But the girl that pumped me did end up killing someone.
Okay. That part.
Apparently, yeah. So it was a girl in Atlanta, and she pumped her wrong or something, and sure enough, it
God.
got into the wrong place or something, and ended up killing her. It's really unfortunate. So she's in prison now.
How does that make you feel?
I
knowing
mean,
that.
obviously, like I said, it's hard to villainize them because I do think she was genuinely trying to help, but at the same time, like back then, you just really wanted to do anything you can to feminize yourself so that there was less of a chance of you getting murdered.
There are people, women like you, who have these stories and these experiences. You've risked your life just to feel safe walking down the street, and these fucking newbies want to like tell you something, you know?
Right. Newbies who aren't risking anything.
Exactly.
That is the thing. Like, you're not living as the opposite sex.
So what do you think of the Boulay brothers?
I really like them.
Mhm.
Yeah. Dracmorda, I think, really likes me. I think it's because we sound the same. During filming, people kept saying that, like, when they would hear me laugh or speak or whatever, they would think that it was Dracmorda until they like turned around and like saw. So I think Drac has a soft spot in her heart for me for that reason, if no other. And we're both like from the South too. We're both just like Southern gay boys at heart.
I can't with you.
But I'll tell you, I think from what I've heard a rumor that like they each kind of pick out a favorite or whatever. They're each drawn to different types of drag or whatnot.
Mhm.
So like they each kind of have a favorite, and then the other one kind of like pretends like they don't like you, or kind of like, I don't know, just like kind of, they try to play good cop, bad cop sort of.
Just a
That's
fun
what I've
little
heard.
mind game. Do you have any long-term goals? Like, where do you see yourself in like 15 years?
Honey,
Like, where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? What is it?
First of all, I am 41, and if I live another 15 years, it'll be a miracle. I am not making long-term goals like that.
Well, like, you know, like for someone who's so dynamic and you've lived so many lives, like if you were to get to that point, like who are you? Who are you?
I don't know, bitch.
Okay.
Drag is all I ever wanted to do, is all I ever thought about, so I don't know what else there is. I don't know what else to do. And like I said, I've been doing it for 20 years. I don't know I couldn't do anything else if I wanted to. I can do hair, I can do my wigs, that's about it. I don't think I want to stay in LA long term. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
Way too expensive.
It's abysmal.
I've never stayed in one place for too long. I mean, as long as I've lived. I grew up in foster care, so I moved around a lot, even as a child, and I think that's followed me into my adulthood. Well, I don't know. I need to figure out where I want to settle down, I guess. And now I've got, I mean, Taylor's a factor in it too. What he wants matters as well.
Oh yeah.
My life so far has been a roller coaster, and I imagine that it's probably not over with yet.
Not
So,
gonna slow down.
yeah, I don't think it's gonna slow down. My bottom lip, bless its heart, is non-existent. You can draw that sucker on.
Those bottom lashes are so pretty.
Those are amazing. Those are your lashes?
Okay. You just
just
cut them
cut 'em
shorter.
off.
Okay, oh.
Yeah, they're literally amazing. We just wrapped this mug, so we're gonna do some finishing touches. We're gonna paint this body bronze, slap a wig on this mess, and we'll be back with the final look. Okay, you ready for your reveal, Miss Thing?
I can't wait to see.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm like a real housewife of Wanker County. Oh my god. Wow. Bitch. Maybe I should start tanning.
Right?
That's fabulous. Oh my god, I love the freckles.
I know.
Those lashes are really pretty too. Those bottom lids, bitch.
Yes.
Yeah, we're ready for Real Housewives.
Oh, totally.
Take me there.
Yes. We're going to Nobu.
I f***ing love it.
Little whore.
This is amazing.
I know,
oh my
isn't it great?
god. I'm like a Barbie doll.
Yeah.
I'm like Malibu Stacy.
Yeah.
Can y'all believe this?
Yes.
Ah. It's a far cry from Dragula, y'all.
The goddess is here. What do we think?
Hi.
We need like a whole new name for you.
I'm like Diamond.
Yes, diamonds and pearls, like the Prince song.
Does this make you my new drag mom?
Maybe. You've had how many in your life?
I
What's
know,
one more?
right?
I
And a
love
younger
it.
one at that.
Anyway, this was so much freaking fun.
Oh my
Sarah.
god,
Thank
I
you
had
so
a
much.
blast. Ah.
Thank you
I
for
can't get
lending me
over
your
this.
face and your body and your gorgeous titties. You're just so delicious and so
Thank
sweet
you for
and
making me
so
so
awesome.
stunning.
Of course. I'm stunned. Trust me, I'm stunned. Thank you so much.
Oh,
I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
No hugs because you'll end up orange.
Okay, that's all you guys deserve. I think we've gone above and beyond. You better freaking love us for this. Uncancel Sara Andrews. You guys are stupid.
Or cancel me again, I don't give a
Yeah, whatever, we're hot.
fuck y'all. I'm hot.
Thank you, thanks for
Love ya. Bye.
You know we had to do the red lip before we left.
I've already lost my nails.
Okay. You're welcome. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Scentbird, for sponsoring this video.